Hi there, it's Catherine back. Today I want to talk to you about how to avoid and protect yourself from domestic violence violations or allegations. Um, this is a pretty common thing that I see in my client base of men, especially military men, the big bad soldier myth again. Um, it's seemed to be a number one strategy of obtaining primary custody from mom is to make domestic violence allegations against dad. Even if she doesn't include the children in that, it's not in the least bit unusual to see in an affidavit or to have somebody come and see me because they've been served with emergency protection order or a restraining order along with divorce papers, and it becomes pretty obvious what's going on. Usually we can get the emergency protection order, restraining order removed with a hearing, or when she gets the parenting she wants, or when she realizes she won't get the parenting she wants, those allegations are withdrawn and the order ceases to exist. It's not unusual for her to set you up in such a way that you end up in the back of a police car and facing assault charges while you're trying to deal with the impact of a divorce. So how do you protect yourself against divorce allegations? First of all, and this is key, you need to accept your relationship is in trouble. The guys who ignore the signs, aren't paying attention, some of my guys are deployed so they don't pick it up. If your relationship is not going well, be prepared to suddenly face a situation that's been set up to make it look like you are an abuser. Stay alert to cues that she wants you out of the house, telling you to go stay with family, telling you to go and stay in a hotel room one night, making you feel kind of unwelcome in your own house. Don't come home, those sorts of things. Keep an eye out for those type of signs, because if she's already hinting that she doesn't want you around, she's going to find a way to get you out of the house. Always have your own cell phone, some money somewhere that she can't get her hands on it, and a go bag ready. If your relationship is in trouble, it doesn't hurt to talk to a lawyer. Not your buddies, not the people around you. They are not lawyers. They can't tell you what your rights are, how to protect yourself. And you might even want to consider having a family law lawyer on retainer ready to go. If your relationship is deteriorated at that point, it can't hurt to already have a lawyer, so you're not having to find a lawyer, deal with interviewing lawyers at a time when you've got your plate full. Also keep in mind that lawyers know lawyers. So if you have a family lawyer and you suddenly get charged with something, you quite often get a good referral to a criminal defense lawyer. You want to use your cell phone to record her. Especially when she's losing her shit. You want to record her. Or if she's threatening to call the police on you. And it's simple enough. Just keep your phone on your chest with the camera facing out, recording. And your hands being on your chest on a phone is even better, because you can't completely innocently put hands on her, which in the legal definition can be considered assault. So your phone's on your chest, camera facing out, recording her. If you are in the military, give your chain of command a heads up that there's issues at home. This is because, and I've seen it happen more times than I would like to tell you, I have seen wives involve the chain of command and try to cause issues at work for soldiers. And if your chain of command already has a heads up that something's going on at home, that helps you when these allegations start coming along, especially if you're looking at a deployment. It's not unusual for ex-wives to contact the chaplain or the social worker and say that there's all kinds of legal issues going on, he can't leave, when it's not necessarily true. Because if you have a lawyer, you can leave because a lawyer can represent you. And if your lawyer has any experience with the military, they can reach you anywhere. I talk to my clients around the world doing all kinds of things. If there's violence in the home, you want to file the police reports or get the emergency protection order first. I can't tell you how many guys, after the ball's been rolling, tell me about being pushed down the stairs, having a patio umbrella bashed across the back of their head, being cold cocked while they're driving their truck from the passenger seat, hit from the passenger seat. They're the victims of the abuse, but they don't report it. If there's something on record already of her being violent, that helps you, because obviously you're not the bad guy. Being innocent is not going to help you when the police are called or when an EPO is being served upon you, because you're going to have to deal with the allegations, whether you're innocent or not. And it comes down to he said, she said, and if she somehow manages to convince the court to believe her and not you, then you're sunk. If the police are involved, the police have been called. If it's pleasant enough weather, go and sit outside. Take your go bag, have your phone, go and sit on the front step. Keep your hands visible and just wait for them to arrive. Don't say anything. And every lawyer will tell you that. Don't say anything. Don't protest your innocence. Don't try to explain. Silence is your best friend right now. If you have police and it looks like they're not just going to visit and then leave, you want to ask them, there's 3 things you want to ask them. Am I being investigated? Am I being detained? And I want to speak to a lawyer. If you are in Canada, we don't have things like Miranda rights. It's a very different criminal process in Canada. Also, the charges are not laid by the victim. The charges are laid by the Crown. So even if your now ex says that she's changed her mind, or if you give her the kids, she'll withdraw the charges. She cannot withdraw the charges. The charges are by the Crown, and she lost control of those charges the moment they were laid. If they're going to put cuffs on you, be cooperative. There's no point in fighting with them. That's just going to get you an extra charge and physically hurt. And while you're waiting for them to come, don't say or do anything with your ex. She no longer exists at this point. Treat her that way. But keep recording. Because you've been recording with your phone through this, keep recording while she's issuing threats. And lots of times, once she's called the police, she thinks she's in control, so then she starts to talk too much. If you are allowed to pack a bag, sometimes they will allow you to go back in and pack a quick bag, and I mean quick bag, which is why I tell you to have a go bag. The most important things that I want you to grab are paperwork. Grab your paperwork, your tax returns, your pay stubs, bills, whatever. Grab your paperwork first, because those are the things that you don't want to leave in her control. Paperwork's more important than clothes at this point. Grab any gear you need for work. You need to assume that you aren't coming back to that house anytime soon or ever. So what you're grabbing is what you absolutely have to have so that you can not have to pay a lawyer to fight to try and get your gear back for work. Now, you need to lawyer up. You don't want to defend yourself in a criminal court. I'm a lawyer and I wouldn't defend myself in a criminal court. Don't do it. Don't try to do it. You're going to need a criminal lawyer for the criminal charges. You're going to need a family lawyer for the family stuff. Lawyers are not multitaskers. We find what we like to do, we know what we're good at, and you want the lawyers. And as a family lawyer, I quite often will work with a criminal lawyer together to establish cases, gather evidence, share evidence, this kind of thing. It's not unusual for us to work together as a team on your behalf to protect all your interests. You want to find lawyers that actually understand what you've been through and are on your side. They're not just looking for retainers, etc. They actually get what you've been through and they know how to deal with it. It's important. And you have to have a good rapport with your lawyer. You're going to be seeing these lawyers and hearing from these lawyers a lot. And it's important for both sides if you can get along and trust each other. That's another key. So, guess what? You've now entered a war. It's known as a high conflict divorce. And the new Divorce Act in Canada, which is about to come in March 2021, has made it even worse where there's domestic violence allegations. The assumption of innocence that is a cornerstone of the British common law system that most Western countries use. I'm not so sure it applies in family law where the domestic violence card has been played. So, be careful, pay attention to your surroundings, and protect yourself as best you can. Take care.